What's up, everybody? Well, got another video for you guys today. Today we're going to be doing flight sim at 1440p external monitor. So got everything all set up, got the keyboard all set up, got the laptop hanging about 30% off the table there, but almost all the weight is on the table, so we're good. Plus it's held on there by a bunch of cords. It'll be fine. Probably. Anyway, let's get started with that gameplay. Alright, starting out on low at 1440p. Don't mind that rendering resolution thing. I got that fixed before I started actually running the game. It was just glitching out. Now we're on low, so let's just cruise really quickly through all the low settings so everybody can get a good idea of what all those settings are and how they change throughout all the different various settings. So I guess more of like presets would be better. But with that, now we can get started with the gameplay. Alright. First flight out at 1440p on low. So, at least on low, 1440p external, it seems to have good frame times and good FPS, which I would expect. This game so far has been a very strange one to benchmark. Certain times it has horrible frame times that make the game literally almost unplayable, and at other times it has super low or super high FPS and then super bad at frame times. Right now it has good FPS and frame times. Sometimes it'll do the exact opposite and you'll get like 40 FPS, but at least you'll be getting okay frame times. It's very strange. In the interior now, I still like all the detail, even though I don't understand what any of this stuff really does. I do like all the detail they put in it. Looking out the back here. See a little bit of some aliasing for sure down at the bottom of that window. But still, looks alright considering this is low. Except for the terrain. The terrain still looks kind of eh. And that is a good portion of this game. So, we'll have to see how it runs on the higher graphic settings. Speaking of which, though, let's move the camera. Alright. Doing some 1440p, starting with low settings. Now we're doing camera recorded. Let's head to the outside first like we usually do, actually. Let's see, let's stare off down that way, take a look at the ground and whatnot, the terrain, if you want to get more technical. Turn off, looking over this way now. Definitely very mountainous out here. I respectively decline, lady. Alright, now let's head into the cockpit. Doing all the instruments. Now we look out the window. Look out the back. You know, if it wasn't for being in the sky and having a giant, like, tail back there, it almost looked like you were just looking out the back of a car. Kind of that Stingray Corvette, actually. It has the split windows like that. Look out this way now. On the horizon. But it is now time for us to move on to medium setting. Well, alright, it's time to do medium settings now. All this stuff's all the same, and as you can see, I did fix the render scaling, like I said before I started the thing last time. I got that right. Didn't want that to interfere with our tests. But everything else here is medium. And some of those other numbers went up, some didn't. So let's see how that does now. Alright, starting out on medium now, 1440p. It seems as though we have gotten some more stutters now by increasing it to medium. They're not horrible, but I don't like stutters. I like smooth frame times. But then again, I'm a very, very picky person when it comes to frames. But at the same time, I also like games to look pretty good, so I'll always sit there and fiddle until things are to my liking. But these videos are just about the presets. Because most people probably just go in there, hit the preset, and go. Alright, back into the interior now. Everything in here still looks pretty much the same as far as detail goes. Some of the edges have been smoothed a little, which is strange because I don't think I saw that aliasing setting change, so it must be something else doing that. But we'll just look around the interior of this plane, or the cockpit as they like to call it. Oh, the back window still has that stuff. I wonder if that is aliasing. Maybe that's actually just like bolts or something holding the window in. I don't know. I don't know planes, so I am not sure. Alright, look forward, look at the floor a little bit here, and some of the gauges. And now I think it's about time to get onto that camera. Alright, medium settings camera recorded now. 1440p. Still getting quite a lot of stutters. This is a very stuttery game on this laptop. At least at certain settings. Some other settings don't seem so stuttery. It's very, very peculiar. Huh. The sun up there. Alrighty, let's hop into the cockpit view. Look around in here.
Go ahead, turn the yoke gently toward the left. When the dotted line matches up with the horizon, keep it there. Go ahead, turn the yoke gently toward the left. When the dotted line matches up with the horizon.
A lot of buildings down there.
Go ahead, turn the yoke gently toward the left.
Leather seats.
Line matches up with the horizon, keep it there.
Alright. Now we shall move on to the next graphics setting. Alright, now we're going to move on to high preset. Just showing you up here, all this stuff is the same. The only thing we've changed is the global rendering quality. And I will just cruise through quickly. Texture super sampling this 4x4. It's like a pickup truck. Anyway. And now we move on. Okay, now it is time for high. And high has made our frame rate not only plummet, but I feel like the frame times have gotten much, much worse. But still, I don't know, some people might consider this still playable. I don't really like how that's going, personally. But, for all the people I'm doing this for, that's why these videos are here. You can decide if the way that's performing is worth it to you or not. But then I have to think most people probably don't get a laptop or a desktop solely to only play one game and only one game. I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule, of course, but I feel like most people want to play a multitude of games. But if they were really looking forward to playing this one and it doesn't do it, then I would have to say maybe go somewhere else, because that other laptop will probably be able to play maybe that better than this one, and all your other games still decently too. But as you guys have seen in a lot of my other videos, this laptop's an absolute beast when it comes to many other games. It kind of fell flat on its face with Crysis Remastered too. Let's go in the cockpit area again, just look around like we have been, just keep things on the same kind of look. That's the reason I keep doing the exact same test over and over again too. That way it keeps the exact same thing over and over again, to try to keep the tests a little bit more, you know, what is the word, scientific, I guess. Still not perfect by any means, but at least this is better than my other tests where I'm just running all over the place. Where you're seeing how good it runs, but not necessarily seeing how good it runs compared to everything if I would just run through the exact same scenario over and over again. But anyway, it's time to move on to camera. Okay, now we're doing high settings. 1440p camera. And so far I am not impressed with this thing at Flight Sim. It's stuttering almost every resolution, whether it's external or on the laptop itself. I was starting to wonder if it was something to do with that MUX switch, but I don't think so. I think this game just does not like this laptop for whatever reason. We're not even really getting that high of temps or anything, but we're getting horrible frame times. Absolutely terrible. Let's go to the outside real quick. This is like the definition of stutterfest. Ugh. Horrible. Look at that. We can drop down to 12 FPS, and this is only at 1440p. I mean, at least the frames stay, you know, somewhat consistent. The frames, not the frame times, but once you start swinging around, they drop quick, down to 23, 24. I do not know what's up with that. I'm on the latest drivers, latest Windows updates, on Windows 10 anyway. I haven't gone to Windows 11. That still has a level 3 cache bug, so I am not going to do that. That will lower performance. It's happening on my main computer right now. Everyone told me it was fixed already, but no, I got way better level 3 cache scores on IETS 64 on Windows 10 than I did on Windows 11, and I'm sure that's affecting my FPS in games. Alright, now let's go back into the cockpit and try to look around in here, even though it's stuttering like crazy. Quickly look around in here a little bit more, look down at the ground. And alright, let's move on. And last up, we've got ultra settings. Everything up here is precisely the same as it has been, except for that setting. And yeah, this thing has stayed pretty much the same the whole time. Alright, the rest of the settings have changed to Ultra though. I'm pretty sure everything besides a couple bars is maxed out now. I don't know if that cockpit refresh rate moves up or not. But, let's move on. Now we got Ultra settings. Still not the smoothest frame times. But I feel like it's slightly better than high. Or about the same, it's hard to tell. We've definitely lost some frames too. Down into the 40s now. Yeah, I feel like this is probably one of those situations where it'd probably honestly be smoother if we just locked it to like 40 FPS or something like that. So there might be some solutions to some of this stutter. Some of it might just be the fact that I'm running this game without VSync on. Some games hate running without VSync, and it just turns them into stuttery messes. Yeah, no, I'd say this is probably smoother than the last graphics setting, honestly. At least in the frame time department. It was kind of similar at first, but it's really smoothed out after running for a couple. Or for at least a minute here. Definitely looks really good. I definitely gotta give it to him. And this is 1440p, and 1440p usually looks pretty freaking awesome. It's a great middle ground between awesome clarity and good frame rates. Once you start going past that into the ultra wide and 4K, you start giving up frames for graphics unless you have ridiculous cards. Anyway, though, it's time to move on to camera. And finally, we've got ultra camera recorded gameplay. And strangely, Ultra seems just a little bit smoother with the frame times, even though the frame rate is lower, our frame times are much better. We're not jumping up into the like 70s. Sometimes we're getting spikes up into the 70s. So this is much better. So there's probably some setting somewhere where if you sat there and fiddled with stuff, you could probably get this smoothish. If you just settled for 60 FPS or 30, depending on how high you want the settings and what resolution you're playing on, but I'm still not that impressed with the performance on this laptop for Fight Sim. It's not quite as bad as Crysis Remastered, but I'm definitely not very pleased so far with it. I love this laptop all in all, but I'm not about to give it a pass when it doesn't do good in a game, just because I like the thing. This is not very good performance so far. Alright, this time we'll do a little different. We went through that for a minute, now let's go outside for about a minute. I will say, this game does look really good once you start putting stuff on Ultra. It's pretty damn close to photorealistic. So I can understand why it's so hard to run. It might just be the simple fact that this laptop can't handle it at the higher settings. And then whatever is going on at the lower settings to cause it to have such bad frame times, you just gotta figure out what that is. And like I said, you might be able to get a decent frame rate, but so far, just at face value with the just normal quality sliders, not impressed. Not impressed one bit. And we still got 4K to do. I dread to know what it's gonna do on that now. But on that note, why don't we just wrap this video up now, shall we? Well, alright, that's about a wrap for this video. Not very impressed with how this laptop performs on Flight Sim so far. Still got 4K to go, like I said previously, earlier in the video. But still gonna, you know, push through, see how it does. Just because I like the laptop doesn't mean you can't show it in a bad light. I mean, it is what it is. Doesn't do good at this game, but it does great at other games. But that'll about do it for this video, and I'm gonna go make the 4K video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and until the next one, peace out, guys.